Freizess, the Ice Dragon, is going to be released on Wednesday. It's a best-in-slot vision card for Ice Mages, and the Esper itself has a couple other applications on top of being good for Ice Casters. So today we're going to explore what that is, what he does, and whether it's worth pulling for him or not. Before we begin, I want to point out that I do have an Amazon affiliate link down there, so if you want to support the channel, please use the link when you buy your viz, it helps out a lot. Otherwise, tons of other good War of the Visions content creator. Just support someone from the content creation community, and I'll be pretty happy about it. So let's go into the review. First of all, looking at the stats, this vision card is nothing out of the ordinary, but it is better than most other magic-oriented vision cards. What I like about it is just the fact that it has 4 defense. There aren't really vision cards that provide ice attack up in the game right now, so this does not have much competition. The only other card that gives ice attack up is the Glacial MR card, and well, it's an MR compared to a UR card, so clearly our Ice Dragon is better there. If we compare the magic value to top tier magic value vision cards like Shiva, the Ice Dragon falls short a little bit. We're losing 28 magic compared to this one. But I would trade 28 magic for 4 defense in most matchups because surviving one more turn will give you a lot more damage output overall than just having 28 more magic, right? So overall, I would say the stats are good, but it's nothing worth pulling for just for that. What makes this really good is the individual ability, I think, for ice characters. Now, before the global upgrade, all this gave was 30% magic up. 30% is a lot. We'll look at the values in a minute there, but it is a really significant amount of magic up for those ice characters. The thing is, there aren't many ice mages right now in the game. There's the Valentine Salir that was just released, Medina, you could use Freizess, Rosa, or even put that on Gilgamesh because he has some magic scaling abilities, but overall you're pretty limited in terms of who's going to benefit from that. The other abilities are HP up and magic resistance up. We don't know the values just yet, but based on previous global exclusive upgrades, I would say you should expect around 10% HP and magic resistance. What is really cool about the magic resistance part is that since it's an individual ability, it is going to stack with the magic resistance from Fenrir. So using Fenrir, which is already best in slot for ice physical attackers, and this vision card on another one of your mages, this mage is going to be very resistant to magical attacks. If it's a 10% like what I'm expecting, he'll walk into a fight with 30% extra magic resist from both vision cards, and that's really good. Then the party ability is a bit more easy to use because it's going to benefit any ice unit, not just your mages, so that's much better. You're getting 35 ice attack up, so just more damage for all your ice characters, 13 crit damage, which is good, but since there's no crit rate up anywhere in these vision cards, it's not going to be reliable, so I would not bank on that. And then 25% extra HP for all your ice units is really cool. That's one of the better bonuses because everybody benefits from more HP. Like there's no unit in the game that does not want more survivability. So overall, really solid abilities. I like the fact that the party abilities are so good because you might want to run the VC on a mage even if he's not a nice one. Lose the individual ability, but then increase the power of your friendly Oran, Laswell, Gilgamesh, and other physical ice characters. So that gives the VC a little bit more scenarios where it's actually good. Then let's look at what 30% magic means. Well, for our EX mages, it's about 100 more. So we looked a bit earlier at the fact that this card was giving 28 less magic than Shiva, for example, but if it's your individual ability card, you're actually getting a lot more than Shiva just because of the 30% magic up. So overall, yes, it is best in slot for ice mages. For a non-EX unit like Freya, it's a little bit less, but they'll all eventually get their EX jobs, so that's not a very relevant thing to consider in the long run. And then looking at HP, it's going to be around 600 for all those characters. A more tanky character like Freya, even at 99, because she doesn't have her EX job there, will gain a little bit more, like 700. If we were to bring a tank in there, they would have a little bit more. But overall, it could be the difference between surviving and dying for one hit. A couple hundred HP like that is not bad. Now, what about the Esper? And I think that Esper is one of the better ones. First of all, the stats are not that great. 1300 HP is in the high end, so he's more of a tanky Esper. Then he gives decent attack and magic, which is cool, but its nodes are really more tailored towards mages. So while you could use it on a physical attacker, it has to be an ice physical attacker, otherwise you're wasting a bit of stats there. 15 agility is in the low end for an Esper, but it's not the lowest, so not terrible, I guess. Confusion resistance, not bad. Gives some wind resistance, some fire weakness, that's standard for an ice Esper. If I'm comparing it to the future 3-star Shiva, on a mage, I would probably prefer to run Shiva if I'm just looking at the stats, because 5 more agility is a huge difference. I really like picking Espers that have more agility. It's part of my decision makings, and it often has a good advantage for my teams. So this guy is a little bit more comparable to Titan or Golem, because as we'll see in a minute, he provides some spirit, so he's really more there for some survivability on your units than speed and damage. His evocation ability is pretty unique. It's a cone, just like Armor Piercer or Horizontal Shot. That's going to be guaranteed hit, decrease healing for the targets that are hit, and then map-wide, it's going to reduce ice resistance by 50% for all enemies. So if you're running a mono ice team, this is good to cast because you're going to deal extra damage to everybody afterwards. It also increases attack and magic for a couple turns, but I don't think that is going to be very important. Nowadays, we have so much stats coming from Espers, VCs, equipment, that even 100% of your unit's base stats is often not game-changing in terms of a buff compared to what else you can get. Now, I already hinted to the best thing about this Esper, and that's the fact that it has 15 Spirit. There are very few Espers in the game right now that provide with this buff, and that's 15 Spirit that's going to stack with your armor, with your vision cards, if any, and with your unit's base spirit. So it's really possible to use that to make characters into magical bruisers, which is very strong. If you've seen my previous showcase of WOTV as a magic bruiser using the Titan Esper, well, that worked very well, and she was turned from a unit that's weak to magical 100% hits into a unit that can take them for a very long time. So this makes it into a really good Esper. Obviously, he's better for ice mages because he has ice attack up and magic attack, but he could do for just about any mage. If you dump the ice attack up nodes, just pick magic attack and spirit, it can make mage versus mage matchups much easier, where your team can take 1 or 2 hits before going down and the other team potentially goes down in 1 hit. So that's my overall verdict and the reason why I like the Esper. Extra spirit, it's really important. But ice attack up is not bad, and that could give you a reason to run this on ice physical attackers as well, because 25 ice attack will give you a huge increase on your Gilgamesh, on your Oron, and the Esper still has the same amount of magic as attack, so it's not a low amount of attack overall. So with all that said, should you pull? Well, it's a unique card. We don't have any other magic caster oriented card right now. The Esper is great. It's best in slot for ice mages, but it is element restricted. There are very few ice mages in the game right now, and it's not time limited, so if you don't pull it now, it doesn't mean you cannot max it in the future, especially now that we have a vision card hard quests. Yes, you're obviously missing out if you're not pulling it now because you don't get the shards from the bingo board, but you could, in the long run, max it without spending a single visor. Should you pull? I think if you just pulled for Valentine Salir, well, it's a great card for you, and it's one of the only card that benefits her a lot. If you're planning on EXing Freya, maybe hold on, it will be great for her, but there was a contest for vision cards for Freya, so I'm sure her own vision card will be better for her than this one. And then if you're Medina main for some reason, well, yeah, go for this card, but otherwise, I would recommend you wait. Perhaps pull for it just for the Esper, but at that point, you will eventually pull the card naturally. So if you're patient and you don't have a need for it right now, I would recommend you skip that, just because there's so many good things coming in the future. So that was it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and learned a thing or two. If you did, please like and subscribe. And then as always, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.